What's up, nerdlings?
Hello, nerdlings.
We want to present to you the Kevin Sorbo panel.
Hercules.
This also includes some Q&A from the audience, and this was from BransonCon. Now, I did want to let you guys know that this was filmed at the Welk Resort Theater, and they have a wonderful stage.
They do, but it is mostly for like musical productions.
Yeah.
It's not conducive for like an intimate panel. They had the lights a little too bright.
The lights were bright, so it is kind of hard to see him, especially, or that could just be that half god glow, you know.
Maybe it was.
Also, the first couple of rows were actually reserved for the VIPs.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get all the way up to the front, but we tried to get a good angle for you guys. To be honest, with the panel, it's mostly more of a listen, and I really hope that you guys give it a listen because Mr. Sorbo has some incredible stories.
Yes.
I mean, about Hercules and Andromeda, all of his movies that he's been doing.
His life in general.
Yeah, we
Things
learned
that he did before he even got into acting that we had no idea about.
And we even learned, I mean, there were some like health issues, some serious
Yeah.
health issues that came as a shock. But anyway, some great questions in there too once the audience participates. So guys, please, if you don't watch it because the quality's a little iffy, please give it a listen and let us know what you think down below. All right, on to you, Kevin.
Enjoy.
Welcome to the stage, the Nerd Informants. Man, how good does it feel to be in Branson, Missouri and on the Welk stage, Mr. Church? BransonCon 2020 is finally here! All right, BransonCon, you know we've got a great lineup of guests for the weekend. Thank you to all of our VIP pass holders for being here, all of our ticket holders. Thank you for coming out to BransonCon 2020. You guys have waited, you've been patient. He is here in Branson, Missouri. Make some noise if you know who I'm talking about. Our featured guest for the evening is an incredible actor. He is a director. He's a producer. He's a philanthropist. He is a dad. And he is a renowned author and motivational speaker. BransonCon 2020, if you're ready, make some noise. Standing ovations are accepted. Please welcome to the stage, actor Kevin Sorbo. Kevin, they love you here in Branson.
It's like okay. I feel like I got to put my radio voice on too with you guys.
Your voice is so much better than mine, big guy.
Can I sit? Wow.
Yep. We made sure you guys are the most comfortable chair in the house here. You can kick back, relax, recline. So BransonCon, let's get one more round of applause for Kevin Sorbo.
Thank you. Those lights are so bloody bright. I'm telling you.
I know, right? And I apologize in advance for the glare off my head. So if that blinds me more, I'm sorry about that. So first things first, I think everybody here wants to know, you're here in Branson, Missouri. Sir, this is not your first trip here.
No.
How has everything been so far?
It's good. I got my game of golf in today, so I was happy about that. It was a little chilly, but I did get the new Payne golf course that Tiger Woods designed. So
Nice. So you were out there in golf heaven amongst, let's see, I'm trying to think here. I'm thinking of the name. I mean, you had legends out there like Payne Stewart. You got Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
You had Gary Player.
Sure.
All those guys.
I know all those guys. I've been fortunate to play with them. I've known Gary for over 20 years. So
Now, we had a chance to talk about this as well. As I understand, when it comes to golf, how many hole-in-ones have you hit, sir, in your golfing career?
I've hit 7. Which is more than a lot of PGA pros I play with. I got 2 with pros. I got 2 with one with Rocket Mediate and another one with VJ Singh.
Those are some big names, and of course, VJ had some sound applause for you as well, right?
It was pretty funny because it was just like a year ago. I was out in Pebble Beach area, and it's a Champions Tour event up there, and I got my hole in one, and the guy I was playing with, along with BJ, he videotaped me walking up. We see the ball in the hole, I pick it up. I go, look at that, hole in one. BJ, where are you? Oh, you're in the sand trap. All right, buddy, I'll wait for you over here. But it was pretty cool.
So to kick off the panel and the Q&A, we want to remind all of our ticket holders tonight that are here for the Q&A with Kevin Sorbo. We are going to open it up to the floor before we close out tonight. So if you guys have got questions for Kevin, anything you've always wanted to ask him, you will have the opportunity to do that. We've got mics set up on either side of the stage, so we will have that for you before we close out tonight. Tim, you've been waiting on this moment your entire life. Do you want to start us off? A question for Kevin?
Guys, I can't begin to explain how excited Josh and I are to be sitting up here with you, Kevin. It's a lifelong dream to have the chance to meet you, growing up with Hercules. Yeah, you guys know Hercules? Yeah! So right off the bat, just looking back over some of the episodes of the show before this weekend began, I'm just kind of curious, between the television movies you made and then leading into the actual television series, was there any major changes that were made or anything that you guys kind of debated on whether to keep or to change?
Not really. I mean, it was originally just going to be 5 2-hour movies. That's what the whole plan was. We were part of the thing that Universal Studios are doing called the Action Pack. And besides my show, they had Vanishing Sun, which was like a kung fu karate thing. They had Tech Wars, William Shatner's show he produced. There was Midnight Run. If you saw that movie with Charles Grodin and De Niro, they decided to make a series out of it. And then there was The Bear, the BJ and the Bear off that movie. And it was initially, everybody was just going to do 4 movies, and they were going to do like the Action Pack. If you're old enough like me, you remember McCloud and McMillan and Wife and Columbo, and they rotated those things. That's what they wanted to do with this. By the 3rd movie that we were doing, something happened with Michael Hurst and I that was it was so funny. I said to Michael after we did it, the crew just cracked up. If you can make a crew laugh or cry, you've done something good, because they're so jaded, they're around stuff all the time, they just focus, pull, and do their job and move on. And I said, this is it, this is what the series is about. I mean, we can't take ourselves seriously with this. We got to have fun with it, because the audience will love if we just really tongue-in-cheek the whole time. I mean, we got to have that Gilligan Island, breaking the fourth wall type of thing. And I will not wear that dress. I will not wear that dress. Cut to Gilligan wearing the dress, right? So we knew that was where the show really had to go. And I talked to the writers back in LA and talked to Sam Raimi, our exec producer, and we kind of knew that was where it was going to happen. And I also called up my manager about 2 weeks after that, and I said, hey, Beverly, I think they're going to make a series out of this. She goes, did they tell you that? I said, no, I just think we got something that hasn't been on TV yet. It's going to be a whole different sort of action show. About a month later, Universal Studios calls me up and says, we like what we see. Just stay in New Zealand, we're going to make it a TV series. So that's really how the whole thing just kicked off. But what's funny is a couple years down the road, they were hoping to keep everything going. Not even a couple years, one year after we finished the movies, the only 2 shows that they picked up were Vanishing Sun and mine, and Vanishing Sun lasted only 1 more season and was gone. And I found out from Sidney Sheinberg, the president of Universal at the time, he calls me in and he says, I got to be honest with you, when we were first looking at all these shows, we figured Hercules would be the first to go. So it shows you, they don't know anything in Hollywood. They really don't. They don't know. They don't know. It's like throw spaghetti up against the wall and see what sticks, and they just hope for the best. I did a pilot for ABC in 2005 called Bobby Cannon. And they had 28 new pilots that year. This was basically the last year that they would remember the fall was the time to release all the new series from the networks. Now they bring them out whenever they want to bring them out. So they had 28 pilots they shot. And they brought it to 8 different cities in America. And we tested #1 in all 8 cities. And so they picked 7 shows out, mine was one of them. They fly me to New York for Upfronts. Upfronts is a really big deal where they sell all their shows. It's a big schmoozy Hollywood thing. And the night before they were going to make the official decision on do my interviews, my manager calls up and they said that they're not going to pick up the show. One guy, the president at that time at Universal, one guy decided he didn't want to do it for whatever ego, whatever reason. We tested #1 in 8 cities out of 28 new shows. Why wouldn't you take the chance and give it 1 season to see what happens? And it drives me crazy because you guys were denied a very funny show written by Barry Kemp. Barry Kemp wrote Coach 9 years, pretty good show. He wrote the Bob Newhart series, pretty good show. He says this day it's the best show he ever wrote. Bobby Cannon was sort of a Coach meets Cheers, where I play an NFL quarterback in Chicago, getting near the end of his career. We had a great cast. Rocky Carroll, who, if anybody are NCIS fans, he's been on that show. Kate Walsh, who did Private Practice after that for 7 8. We had such a good cast, and it blows my mind. It's so frustrating, it kills me, because I've done a lot of guest spots on sitcoms. I've done Dharma and Greg, According to Jim, Sybil, I've done a lot of different guest spots. And for an actor, it's a blast, because it's really doing a little play every week. You get a script on Monday, and by Friday, you're up in front of 300 people, and you're doing this live, and it's a hoot. But I don't know. I'm going to talk to see if we have time for the VIP night we're planning on tomorrow night. Because I've got the episode with me, besides the Hercules one. I might show that 23-minute episode of Bobby Cannon. I think you guys will get a kick out of it. We'll see.
Best part about that is you get commentary from the man himself. Who doesn't love that? Well, you were not present for this, but Kevin was telling me a funny story really about the Hercules audition process. Kevin, you remember we were talking about this on radio? And it all came down to a very specific part of your body.
No, it didn't come down to the part of the body.
It did come down.
I don't think it hurt, but it didn't come down to the part. Okay.
You gotta tell them.
I'll give you the backstory on this. So my manager calls up, my agent calls up, and they said they're doing a series of movies for Hercules. And I was big. I mean, you know, I'm actually the size I was now my freshman year in college. I'm 210. I was 230 for a long time. 225, 230. I was lifting weights all the time, played football and all that. So when they called me up and said they're doing Hercules, I thought, yeah, okay, I'm a big guy, but they're going to want some 300-pound no-neck steroid dude. I know they're going to want that. But I'm sure Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno never took steroids. Anyway, I was all natural. And so they said, no, they're looking for an NFL quarterback-sized guy or decathlete. They're looking for an athletic guy. I said, okay, so I went in red, thought I did a pretty good job, left. 2 weeks later, they called me again. Went in red. A week later, they called me again. This happened 7 times, okay? They auditioned 2,800 people for this role in North America. So they get down to the last 3 guys. And the last meeting is now going to be still at Universal Studios, but it's going to be in the Black Tower. If anybody's ever been to LA on the 101 in Studio City over there, there's this big black tower right off the 101 before you go to Universal, go to the amusement park there. And we call that Black Tower the tower where actors go to die, because it's a brutal building to go into. So I get there, and it's a pretty good sized room. It's not nearly like this, but it's got, you know, theater seats like this that holds probably about 60 people, and it's filled all with the studio males and females stuff, that all the television power to be of Universal Studios. So I get on the stage, and I walk out there. And up in the front row is Sam Raimi, who's won, you know, Evil Dead, and one of my favorite Kevin Costner movies, For the Love of the Game, baseball game movie. And so I'm standing here, and I said, so Sam, okay, what do you guys want me to do? Because you always give me the same, you know, scene to read. I've got it pretty much memorized by now. I mean, why are we still doing no direction? No, we like what you're doing. Just read it one more time. And that's why you're here. That's why we're making a decision tonight, you know. And so I said, okay. So they had me read with an actress, and I read the role. And they said, it's great. So Sam hits the woman next to him. And she goes, oh, yeah, okay. I'm supposed to ask you to take your shirt off. So I take my shirt off, and there was an audible reaction by women and men going, oh. And then the smart ass side of mine said, yeah, I'm a lot bigger outside of my clothes. So Sam says, he goes, would you feel uncomfortable if you, I'm not like Robin Williams hairy, I just got a man cover, you know. They said, would you be okay if you get the role, if you would shave your chest and stomach? And I looked at Sam and I went, I'm I'm sorry, I thought you wanted a man for this role. And I started to walk off the stage. And I got a big laugh from them, and they said, great job, you know, we'll be in touch either way. And I said, great. So I fly, the next day, I flew up to Vancouver to do an episode of Michael Chiklis' series, The Commish. Do you remember The Commish? And 3 days there, I get a note, call your manager. So I called her up. Bev was freaking out. She goes, you got the role, you're playing Hercules, you're in New Zealand. And I said, this is very cool. So I walked back on the set, and I looked at Chiklis, because now it was going to be my close-up, and he was off the camera. And I said, I don't want any crap from you, buddy. I'm half God now. So, get off my case. And then I went right into, I spent 2 months training with a gentleman in all kinds of martial arts, and White Lotus Kung Fu was his style. He was one of the original students of Bruce Lee. David Wong, who was very, very cool, and then went down to New Zealand, and you guys helped make it a 7-year hit. Thank you.
Kevin, I kind of feel like we're going further back in time here, but I do have to ask, you know, every actor has their early struggles as they're trying to get into their career. Was there anything interesting job-wise that you had to take on before you really started landing some of the major roles you did?
You know, I talked to this with a group we were talking to backstage earlier, and I told them I was one of the lucky ones. I fell in love with acting at a young age. I grew up in a small town outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have the Guthrie Theater. The Guthrie Theater is a very famous theater. A lot of people from Broadway perform out there. A lot of plays start there before going to Broadway. The Lion King started there before moving to the last 20-some years, whatever, 30 years on Broadway. And I saw this play. It was The Merchant of Venice. It was Shakespeare. I was 11. I don't know what the heck they were saying because it was Shakespeare. But I was totally mesmerized by the actors on stage. And on the way home, my mom said, what do you think? And I said, I think I want to be an actor. And she went, that's nice, dear. So the dream was there. The seed was planted. And Minneapolis is home, St. Paul area is home to a lot of big companies, headquarters that are nationally. You got Best Buy, Target, 3M, Honeywell, Pillsbury, General Mills. So a lot of commercials were shot there, and I did a lot of commercials for Target. So I had that all-important SAG card before, the Screen Actors Guild card, before I moved to LA. And I had great commercial tape already. So when I went to LA, I got with one of the best commercial agents already because I had such a strong commercial reel, and I worked very well commercially. I had buddies that had to sell cars, they were bouncers, they were waiters, they were bartenders. I never had to do that. So I was very lucky, and I know that. And I didn't know a soul. I got in my little beat-up old Honda, and I drove out there, and I stayed at a friend of a friend's house, and I had to get out of there because it just wasn't a good situation being that there was a person in that house, not a good person to be around. Anyway, I had to get out. But I met this guy at a party, cool guy, and he said, oh look, I own a couple apartments in Santa Monica, and it's a rent control. And so I was able to get in this little rent control apartment right on the Venice-Santa Monica border, and it was 6 blocks from Gold's Gym and 8 blocks from the ocean, and I'm in my 20s. I said, this is cool. I was able to have I had that little apartment up until I got Hercules for 6 years. It was just a great spot to have. So, you know, I studied with 3 different acting coaches, really good coaches. One in the middle there, Roy London, who passed away back in 1996. That class was amazing because it was actors that went on to have big careers, you know. Knock on wood, I had a good career, but Brad Pitt was in my class, Matthew Perry was in my class, Charlotte Ross was in my class. It was amazing. I remember seeing Matthew Perry perform for the first time, and I kind of leaned over to Brad and I said, this dude should be on a sitcom. He's really good. Friends, there you go. You know? And then Brad, back then, was a chain-smoking fool, man. I mean, I hope he's still not smoking cigarettes now, but he was smoking like crazy back then. And we always had a break in the acting class, and so everybody go outside just to sort of get some air out of the stuffy room after a while. And he said, yeah, I just got this movie, man, because he had just done Thelma and Louise. If you remember, he's only in the movie like 10 minutes, but he kind of steals the movie. Who's this guy? You know, so he says, yeah, I got to learn how to fly fish. I'm doing a movie called A River Runs Through It. I was like, and you're working with who? Robert Redford. I said, what? Because Robert Redford and Paul Newman are reasons why I really wanted to be an actor, you know. And bye-bye Brad after that movie. You know, he just took off. And it's amazing how it can happen and how it cannot happen. You know, there's a great line in the Don Henley song, I don't know why fortune smiles on some and lets the others go free. I mean, there were amazing actors in my acting class that never worked. I know that, you know. And but I think it's luck, it's timing, it's talent, it's hard work, it's perseverance. And you have a lot of strong will, because everything in Hollywood is about rejection. Everything is, you walk in, they go, he looks like my wife's ex, I hate him, you know? I mean, there's always, you're too short, you're too tall, I mean, it's always something, they just want to get rid of you. It's all about elimination, because there's so many people competing for these jobs. I remember my commercial agent, one time I heard about a commercial, I called, I'm perfect for this. Kevin, I got 100 other clients. I said, I don't care about your 100 clients, they care about me. I said, my mantra was, let me have the opportunity to be rejected. So it's just, get me in the room. If they don't pick me, they blew it. That was my attitude, you know, so you just gotta stick with it.
You know, and I think your fans would also be interested to know, I mean, you talked about it, and the cool thing about it was, I mean, obviously landing in New Zealand with Hercules Legendary Journeys, I mean, that place, unreal, dreamlike, between the North and South Island. With your print and modeling career, you got to get some traveling in, you got to go to some amazing countries, and as I understand those commercials, I mean, totaling well over 150, is that correct?
Yeah. Well, here's what happened before I got to LA. I kind of jumped to LA pretty quick. When I was finishing up my last year of college, it's always a girl, right? I met a girl. And she was already modeling since she was 14 all around the world. And we shot a commercial together, hit it off, started dating, and she says, look, I'm heading to Dallas, want to come down there with me? There's a good market down there, there's commercials. And I said, yeah, you know what, why not? I had 2 buddies down there playing football at SMU from my high school. So I said, yeah, why not? So I go down there, and we spent a couple years down there. And down there, I did get a job. I worked as a bouncer at a club called Confetti's. So for those 2 years, when I was 22, 23, I was a bouncer at a club called Confetti's. It was the hottest club in town. All the Dallas Cowboys would come. It would just be packed. I mean, just craziness. And so then she said, I said, okay, I think it's time for me I got to get to LA. And I got to do, I mean, I joined a theater class down there. I was doing some commercial work, but it wasn't as much commercial work down there. And she says, well, just come spend a summer with me in Italy. Let's go to Milan. I said, well, okay, Milan, let's go. So I go to Milan, and I'm walking down the street. I was in 3 months. I was going to hang out this summer, have a good time, see some of Europe. And who's walking at me but Gianni Versace? And he sees me, and he says, who are you? And I said, well, I've got an agent here. My girlfriend's really the model. I'm just, you know. She goes, no, you must be in my show. You must be in my fashion show. You're so tall and so big. And I said, yeah, okay. So it just took off from there. And 3 months in Italy turned to 3.5 years in Europe. And it just took off from me. I lived in Munich for 1.5 years. I formed my own theater group in Munich, plus a 9-team basketball league, which I had a blast. Munich was fantastic. Spent 3 months in Zurich, 6 months in Paris, 3 months in London. So just, now I'm getting to the point, okay, I gotta go pursue the acting career eventually here. So I finally get to LA when I'm 27. I finally get out there. But I don't regret those sites, because it was like, it made me grow up. It really did. It really matured me to be in countries that don't speak English and learn some of this, you know, some of the language, but learn my way around and groceries and flying in an apartment. It really made me, you know, grow up, and it was a wonderful experience, and it really kicked off for me, because the more I travel, the more I want to travel, and it sort of happens that way, you know. And I've been fortunate since. I think that's why when I moved to LA, I kept getting these commercials that shot out of the country. I mean, I think I shot everywhere in Mexico and most of the country. Oh, I gotta tell a story. I'm shooting a commercial in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and there was this guy. This is mean, but I gotta tell it anyway. There was a beautiful, beautiful country. I mean, Buenos Aires was amazing. I'm a meat and potatoes guy. The steak down there and the red wine is ridiculous. But they go out at dinner like 10 o'clock at night. That's when they go out. with 5 and 7-year-old kids, and they then go to bed home 1 or 2 in the morning. That's crazy. But this guy Eduardo was my production assistant. He's the guy that would make sure I got to the set and make sure I get to and from the hotel. And every day he's just bashing America. He's bashing us. The whole jealousy thing towards America, you know. And I finally look at him by the 5th day. I said, Eduardo, let me tell you something. I said, in all my years of conversations with strangers, friends, family, it doesn't really matter whether it's political, about sports, any business, whatever, Argentina never comes up. You know why? Because we don't give a crap about Argentina. It shut them up the rest of the time we were there. They said, we bailed you guys out twice. Our tax dollars came down here twice to bail out the money you owed America, and we forgave you for it. There's taxpayers back in America that want their money back. But I haven't told that story in a long time. I just thought we would start talking about the travel. But it was a great commercial. It was a Ford commercial. It ran everywhere but America. They did a bunch of them. And Martin Campbell directed it. And if you don't know the name, he went on to direct a couple of the James Bond movies. Yeah. Didn't put me in them, but he did go on to direct it.
Now, Kevin, when you were doing Hercules, I mean, clearly when you have a show for several seasons, I'm sure there's certain things that came up, you go, man, I'd really like to see this in an episode, or a particular subject, a particular actor or character. Was there anything in particular you could share with us that you did?
I always kept 3 or 4 episodes ahead with the writers, which I appreciate they were writing, because there's a lot of downtime on sets as they're setting up lighting, but I don't just sit down. I at least learn to play my guitar better, or I would read the scripts coming up, and I would make notes. A lot of times I'd be in the makeup bus, the wardrobe bus, because they had the phone, and I'd be calling America, talking to the writers, saying, what about this, what about that? I mean, to me, I think the writers initially got mad at Michael and I because we would ad-lib very funny lines at the end of scenes. So then they started writing, I bet you Sorbo would say this, let's write it down, you know. But that was the heart of the show, really. I mean, the show always had good values in it. I mean, the letters that started coming in. By our 3rd year, we passed Baywatch as this, 176 countries, the most watched show in the world. 2,000 letters a week coming in. I couldn't read them, a lot of them were just whatever about the show, but we tried to read what we could. Some were pretty crazy, but some were really good. You always wanted to have in there what would make people laugh. And a lot of the letters that came in too were kids saying, I love your character because he doesn't fight unless he has to. It's made me not want to have to fight for no reason, which is a good thing. He said you can always talk things, you can always work things out. And it was amazing that the writers did that. They put a lot of morality in that show, and I think people caught on that as well. But it was, I had 4 Make-A-Wish kids come down. And I'll tell you something, that's overwhelming. The first time I could barely get through it in person, but the second time it's like afterwards. You just break down that these kids, that their wish before they basically die is to meet you. And I didn't feel worthy, to be honest with you. I didn't. And it's incredible that you would meet these kids that would come on the set and stuff. And I mean, that thing's put in perspective the power of television, the power of movies, and how it does influence, for good and bad, unfortunately. There's a lot of bad out there, and it's what's coming out of Hollywood now, unfortunately.
Fun thing about actors in the business, a lot of times what we see on the silver screen, there are actors that probably could have had the role but didn't end up in the movie. You and I had a fun time talking about this on the radio because it's an experience for you. I want to take you back, and I want to start first with Superman. Because that's a fun story as well, because there's some ties there between you and Dean Cain. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what could have been on our television screens?
Yeah, I got down to the last 2 guys for Lois and Clark. And Dean and I both did our screen test with Terry Hatcher. And that night, my manager called me up and said, you got the role. So, freaking out, we go out and have champagne, we're excited, network show. 24 hours later, Lorimar Studios, which is no longer around, but they were based in Warner Brothers lot, they call up and told Beverly, said, no, we're going to go with Dean now instead of Kevin. So the highs and lows that happen so quick in this industry are crazy. I made a good Clark Kent, but Dean made a better Superman. I did, you know. I mean, with the suit and the glasses, I thought it looked pretty good. he was the right guy to cast for it. There's not. Dean's a very good friend. We're great. In fact, we're shooting a movie together later this year called Carpool Lane, which is a really good movie. It's a comedy drama, but it's very fun. And Dean and I are going to be doing that movie together later. I just talked to him like 2 weeks ago. So what I like to tell Dean, and he knows this, is that, you know, things worked out the way they're supposed to work out, because your show got canceled after 3 years, and mine went 7 and became the most watched show in the world. So take that, Superman.
Indeed. Now that's not all, too, because we talked about sci-fi, obviously. We'll get into that a little bit later on here in the Q&A with you, but Fox Mulder, X-Files.
I got close. I got the last 5 guys on that. I got the last 5 guys on the X-Files thing. Yeah, so things were starting to happen for me, you know. I mean, I remember I read for, oh shoot, what was that one that Spielberg, the television series, the submarine one, Sequest. So I got to a point where when I drive on the lot, this was Universal as well, actually, because that's where his Amblin Productions are. They got this amazing building there, house, and before you'd have to, as an actor auditioning for anything, you would just have to park in one of their big parking lots and walk like 10 blocks to get to the, now all of a sudden, yes, your spot is 7C in front of, you know, so I'm parking right there in front. But I got in there to meet with Roy Scheider. It was Roy Scheider, that's his name, right? From Jaws? And my names, I'm trying to get his names right. He didn't want me. I was about 1.5 feet taller than he was, so he did not want me. He just said, nope, too tall. I got that from Schwarzenegger. I was supposed to be in the movie The Sixth Day. That sound right? The Sixth Day. And met with Arnold at the Sony lot, met with the director, was in there for like a half an hour, had a great talk. Walking up the lot, the director jogs up and he says, you're too tall. Isn't that weird? Because Arnie's about 5'10". He says he's 6'3". He's 5'10", which isn't short, but you're not 6'3". So he didn't want me next to him, which kind of was a bummer to me, you know. I mean, I wanted to work with him. I'm still a fan of, you know, but you know, things work out the way they work out.
Now, throughout your entire career, lots of action films, lots of action television series. So whenever you do come upon a role that's, you know, more family-based, not a lot of action in the film, do you find that to be a difficult adjustment as you're, you know, you're not being asked to be rigged up?
Hit somebody?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, I'm doing more and more of those, really. I mean, since Andromeda finished in 2005, I've shot over 60 movies. So there's 15 I wish I didn't do, but I did do them anyway. There's a great interview with Sir Michael Caine, where he did Jaws 3D or Jaws 4 or something. And the interview said, you're Sir Michael Caine. You won an Academy Award. I mean, you did Jaws 4. Why would you do that movie? I mean, did you even see the movie? He said, no, but I saw the house that built me in Spain. So, good answer, touche. But I mean, I didn't go on those other movies I didn't like thinking they would not be good. I mean, it just sometimes it just works out that way that they don't, I mean, it is what it is, so.
You know, and two, obviously, you know, sorcery, sci-fi, you know, Hercules, the legendary journeys. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about this movie, and I think everybody in the audience is going to go nuts when I ask you this question, but let's start with Kull the Conqueror. Think about that, BransonCon. Kull the Conqueror.
Kull, when Rafael de Laurentiis called me for Kull, Hercules was in full swing. We're into season 4 at that time. And I read the script, and it was pretty dark. It was an R-rated movie. It was dark. But I wanted to do something different than Hercules at that time, even though it's in the same vein, sort of, as that. You know, it's another tie into Schwarzenegger, right? So Kull, if you don't know, in the biography and all, is the father of Conan. So Arnie's older than me, but apparently I was able to be his dad. So, we shot in Croatia, in Slovakia, Bratislava, Slovakia, and further in, all the way into the interior of Slovakia, up against the Tatra Mountains. The Tatra Mountains are the divider between Slovakia and Poland. And it was amazing. It was amazing to be part of that movie. What was frustrating was the number of fight scenes they took out, because I busted my butt on these things. and I got just, it was exhausting to shoot it. But they toned down the movie so much to make it a PG. It's like a PG-13, but it really wasn't. I think it's because I had to kiss some girls, so they made it a PG-13. But yeah, it's good. And but I like the movie. It's fun, but I kind of wish they would have kept it the way it was, just because I wanted to see that little darker side, I guess, for myself. But they edited it down quite a bit. But I did add a little line in that they kept in the movie that I thought was pretty funny when I finally escaped. Tia Carrere plays this evil sorceress that comes back, mummy from 3,000 years, and Lightfoot's in the movie with me, and I finally escaped this dungeon. They had me in fighting this creature. I'm running out, and he catches up to me, and he says, "Your bride is over 3,000 years old." And I said, "What?" She told me she was 19. So they kept it in the movie, which I thought was great, because once again, it was a place where the crew cracked up. So if you get the crew, keep it in there. If they're laughing, keep it in there. But that movie, I thought, it's still out there, which is amazing. I still get people coming up. I think I've got the DVDs over there. I mean, the people still tell me they see it and love it. So it was fun to be part of it. It was fun to shoot. Croatia was amazing. It's really sad with all the war going on with Bosnia and all the stuff that's going on, because I was there just after it had just finished. And Peter, who was my driver and speaks the language, I remember on the one, we shot 6-day weeks, like 17-hour days. It was brutal. So my one day off, myself and a couple of actors, we'd want to go inland to see more of the country. And there'd be these big guys with all these, body armor and Uzis, and they'd stop you to check passports. And they all knew who I was because of Hercules, which was kind of cool. Oh, yes. And they say, be careful, don't go off the roads because of the mines that were out there. And we drive by little towns, talk about how horrific war is. There'd be small villages of maybe, 1,000 people wiped out. And the buildings would be collapsed on themselves, and from, just 2-story buildings, 3-story buildings by bomb hits and stuff. And they said, yeah, we can't afford to move it. The bodies are still inside. I mean, it was unbelievable. And it's just, it wakes you up. It takes me out of that phony, fake world I'm living in. But at the same time, I love what I do because, I love movies just like you guys do and TV shows because it's a nice escape. There's enough crap going on. So sometimes it's fun to escape with something that has that comedy to it or a good message instead of the negative stuff. So, should we ask questions? I feel like we should ask some of these people if they got questions.
Gang, if you guys have got a question for Kevin, come on up and line up here in front of the microphones on either side.
Take everything away from you guys. Anybody got a question? Don't be afraid, I can barely see you.
Go ahead.
When the MCU gets the Greek gods from Marvel, are you gonna do Hercules?
Say it again?
When the MCU gets the Greek gods, when the MCU gets the Greek gods, are you gonna do Hercules?
That might be a little bit of maybe Eternals based, so MCU gets into Greek gods. Interest there.
Would I be interested in that? Heck yeah. I mean, it's like, here's the thing, somebody asked me before if I do Hercules, and dude, I'm too old to play Hercules now. We thought Michael Hurst and I should be in rockers and drinking big jugs of ale, and, remember when we fought the Hydra, They just use clips, just do a bunch of, just show a clip from episode 17, certainly Andromeda they could bring back, do stuff with that. But, we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, let's go to this side.
Senior guys.
Yeah.
So you have a great acting career, but behind every great man is a great woman. Can you tell us about how you met your wife?
So,
Sam, yes, let's talk about Sam.
Tomorrow, if any of you are coming to the VIP night tomorrow, we're doing a screening of the episode where I met my wife. And it's called Prince Hercules, where I get amnesia. And Michael Hurst ends up in a vat of grapes, and he's purple throughout the whole episode. And it's a very funny episode. But that's how Sam and I, that's how we met. She came down a day late. Every episode we had to do a read-through with the next cast for the next episode. So after a 14-hour day on set, and then I would go lift weights 2 hours every day on top of it. But after the 14 was on set, we'd have to go one day every 2 weeks into the hotel where we put all the actors in. They had a great conference room in there. And we would read the next script together, out loud, each character's. And Sam and one other actor couldn't make it down because the volcano had blew in the middle of that island by Lake Taupo. The ash in the air stopped all planes from landing, so she'd have come late by 24 hours. Which is fine, because we always brought them in 4 to 5 days in advance, so they get used to the time change, and also get used, see wardrobe, makeup, and whatever they had to do. So there was time to do that. The director really wanted her to meet me, because it was a pretty big episode, and so I said, so I got to go another day to read and with her. So I was at his condo he was staying at. So I get there after a long day at work, and I walk in, and I see her. I already seen her picture. She was very pretty. I said, okay. Another pretty girl to work with. It was a great dating service for me. Every 2 weeks, they sent down a pretty beautiful woman for me to work with. And I was a single guy. I'm a flaming heterosexual. I'm sorry, what can I say? So, she hates when I say that, but it's true. About the dating service part. So anyway, I put up my hand to shake her hand, and she goes, no. And she comes and gives me a hug and does a little European kiss on each side. And I went, oh, the Hollywood thing. Okay, fine. So the day we worked together, first it was a night shoot, the very first time we worked together. It was on a Friday night. And my brother was in town from Milwaukee with his son, my nephew Craig, who was like 9 years old. We put him in as extras, Ada Blast. And we were going to go skiing that weekend down in the South Island for those 2 days. So it was just that first night, Friday, working with her, and then come back. It was a 3-day weekend, then come back on Tuesday. And so the first scene was the final scene of the movie, where it was a kissing scene. Not a big happy, it was just an emotional goodbye after I get my amnesia back. I get over my amnesia. So I walk up to Sam, and I said, first I said, so how are we going to work this out? She looks at me and she goes, what? And I go, well, you're in LA, I'm here, we got that small water hazard between us called the Pacific Ocean. She goes, oh, please. She goes, number one, I don't date actors. And number two, I certainly don't date anybody with long hair. And I said, well, I'm making a pretty good living with the long hair right now. So they're setting up the lighting for the scene. I walk up to her, and we had those taller director chairs, Put my hands on both sides of the chair, and I get pretty close to her. I said, so what do you think? Should we practice this kissing scene? And she says, sure, Kevin. Annie, who was my makeup artist, she goes, do you have any mints? And she goes, sure. He goes, it's not for me, it's for Kevin. So I went, touche. Her New York sarcasm's coming at me. So by the next week, I wore her down and got her on a date. So I pick her up in my car. New Zealand, drives on the left side of the road. So your steering wheel's over on this side. So I pick her up at the hotel where I put actors in. I get her in the car, and there's country music on. She goes, oh, you like country music? I said, yeah, I do. It's the only country music station in all of New Zealand. But, you can change it. She goes, no, I like country music too. I said, okay, cool. So we drive, get to the restaurant. We're sitting there talking. Can't remember exactly what I said. She goes, wait a minute, are you conservative? And I said, yeah, I don't really fit in Hollywood too well. I'm pretty conservative, yeah. She goes, oh, so am I. So we start talking more, and I said something, and she goes, are you a Christian? I said, I am. I'm a Christian, yeah. She goes, wow, country music, conservative Christian. The 3 C's. I think I'm in love with you, she said. So 6 months later, we got engaged, and the year after that, we got married. So and I think in that 6 months, I only saw her. I saw her maybe I don't know, 6 months, maybe 2 months. So here's the deal. So I shoot that episode with her. Then I have one more episode left before I do Kull the Conqueror, before I leave for 3 months to shoot this movie. The next episode was Catherine Bell before she got jagged. She's on their show. So we're still friends. I told her, I said, do I get 10% of JAG? Because I obviously helped your career. So I'm in Croatia. It's in Slovakia. My agent calls me up. Not the agent, the studio calls me up and says, hey, we really like the chemistry between you and Sam Jenkins. Did you like her? Was she okay to work with? I said, yeah, she's all right. And they said, well, we got a 3-show arc. We'd like to bring her down there. I said, yeah, no, she was easy. She was pro. She was great. So I call up right away and I said, Sam, they're about to call you. You're going to be down here for at least 6 to 7 weeks now doing this. So that kind of sealed the deal once she came down there. So, and now 22 years later, we got 3 kids. So there you go.
What was the best part of doing God's Not Dead?
The best part of doing God's Not Dead. I'm going to go back one movie before that called What If. And if you haven't seen What If, you really need to see What If. I think What If's even a better movie, and I can say that because it's the same writers, okay? And I just ran into the writers recently. They did Unplanned as well. That's their latest movie. So Dallas, and this is a good friend of mine, and he calls me up and he says, hey, I got this movie called What If. I'd like you to look at it and tell me what you think, you know, because I like it a lot, but I want to see if, you know, I'm good at looking at scripts and seeing what's wrong with them. As far as writing them, give that to someone else. That's the toughest job in Hollywood. Well, I can look at a script and go, that's a hole, that's a hole, that's a hole, fix that. So I read the script, I call him up, I go, I really like it, who's playing Pastor Ben? He goes, I don't know yet. And he throws a couple actors' names. I said, no, give me the role. He goes, you want to, dude, I don't got any money, I can't pay you, there's no money in this movie. And I said, Dallas, this is such a good movie. Now, Dallas Jenkins is the son of Jerry Jenkins. He's the one who wrote all the Left Behind books. By the way, I'm doing the next Left Behind movie, the next 2. Very excited. Very excited. The first script is done, and it's really, really good, and I'm going to be directing it as well. So we hope to get that thing started by July this year. But, so Pureflix did that movie, and then they called me up a few years later for God's Not Dead. And they said, I don't know if you're going to be comfortable with this. I said, comfortable playing this atheist? I know guys like this. I love to play this role. Are you kidding me? So that little movie, guys, was a $2 million budget, made $140 million worldwide. In the history of Hollywood, it's number 5 dollar for dollar return on your money, the 5th. And I couldn't get on Good Morning America Today show. The only place I could go that wanted me in was Fox Cable. But that's kind of sad, though, isn't it, that they wouldn't have anybody else? Look at this movie, it's an amazing movie. But no, it's got God in it, okay. But I love doing it. My mom said, I hated you in that movie, and I said, then I did a good job. You were supposed to hate me in that movie. But I know people like that, you know, and you see these guys on TV doing that. So I've always said, why do you get so angry about something you don't believe in? Why did you get that mad about, you know, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny too? Then, you know, if you think it's all just a myth, I think maybe there's something else going on why they get so mad about it. But we can get into the psychology of that later. Yes?
Whenever it comes to the world of acting and actors versus characters, a lot of actors will get cast into a character role that becomes iconic. So much so that they get pigeonholed and are only known as that character when people think of them. And something like this could either make or break an actor's career. Is this a problem that you have had to face with any past characters? If so, did it positively, negatively, or did it not affect your acting career?
That's a good question. You're right about that. I mean, you do a show like Hercules. That's why I dove right into Andromeda, because that's like 8,000 years into the future beyond Hercules. And the Captain Dylan Hunt was more fallible, more human, and we had a bigger cast around it. And Hercules, it was Michael and me and everything, you know. So I think that helped. It's certainly it's certainly still there. But I've done so many movies since then, and I get stopped now more in airports for God's Not Dead and Let There Be Light and Soul Surfer, which is really cool to me. But I've heard that from my managers before and agents before, saying you're too recognizable, and I laugh at that, and I say, yeah, I just went to a movie, and the credits at the end went, Tom Cruise. That was Tom Cruise? I had no idea that was Tom Cruise. I mean, what a stupid thing for them to say. I'm sorry, too recognizable. Then Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks should stop doing movies, because that was Tom Hanks too? Really? I mean, come on. You know? But you're not wrong with it, because they do that. And there are a lot of actors that couldn't get past Gilligan's Island, you know? And that stuff does happen. But I think Andromeda helped me a lot to keep the flow going. Bobby Kim would have been huge for me. That would have been an 8-year hit, there's no doubt in my mind. But, you know, you guys, a lot of things you'll never see on television, because the egos of one guys that run each studio. Yes?
Going off your sense of humor, how hard was it to film Meet the Spartans? with Sean McGuire.
Kevin, they went there. They went there before us.
I gotta tell you, we had the same stunt guys that did 300 in Meet the Spartans. They shot 300 in Montreal, all on stage in the blue screen. We did the same thing in New Orleans. We shot all on the stage with blue screen. It was all CGI stuff around us. And there would always be 2 or 3 takes in terms of just vary it up with the dialogue. You know, do it the way it's written. Okay, now try that, try this. We laughed so hard doing that thing. We shot that down just outside of New Orleans, and we laughed every day. It was just so stupid. I loved it. I threw in the line, "I'm gonna go Hercules on your ass." I just threw it in. They kept it in there. But it was. There was that scene where we're supposed to skip into battle to "Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive" and hold hands each with each other. We couldn't keep a straight face. I don't know how many times we had to do that scene over and over again. And they loved it so much back at the studio that they rebuilt the American Idol set on the set of Fox. And you see the closing credits of that, and we're all saying Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive. I'm at a concert, and Gloria Gaynor's, one of the performers, she found out I was there, she pulled me up on stage to sing with Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive. I got goosebumps. It was so cool. It was so much fun. It was just stupid. But I love humor like that, though. I'm a big fan of Naked Gun movies and Airplane. You know, just stupid spoof stuff. Because let's have more of that sophomoric humor. It's good. Yes.
Hey, you kind of touched on it earlier, but I'm a big fan of Andromeda. And what was the difference between just immersing yourself in that, and how did you enjoy it versus Hercules? And were you about 75% physically good to go for that? Because I know there was a transition piece.
Yeah, well, 2 years before that. My book's here, you guys. I got 2 books. True Faith just came out. It came out hot last week, but True Strength has been out there for a while. Just to touch real quick, when he's talking about the end of season 5 on Hercules, I was having all kinds of problems with my left arm, my left shoulder. I couldn't figure out what was going on with it, and I kind of blew it off because I was doing all my own stunts, because my ego said that I could do all my own stunts. And when I came back to the States, ultimately it ended up being an aneurysm that was up here, that had opened up completely, sent hundreds of clots in my arm, but 3 clots in my brain. I suffered 3 strokes. And it took me 3 years to fully recover from them. If you watch season 5 to season 6 on Hercules, you can see about a 15-pound loss, because I wasn't able, I went from it took me 4 months to learn how to walk again and balance again. And I still had 10% loss of vision in both eyes. And I worked hard on my speech, but I got all back. It's amazing. I didn't want to write the book. My wife made me write the book, because it was, you're a guy. Your ego is, I don't want people to see how bloody weak I was, but she said, "You don't understand, this is going to save people's lives." And it's been amazing. The book came out just 8 years ago. It's opened up a door of speaking events for me. That I do about a dozen speaking events a year now because of the book. And I've had people from car crash survivors to cancer survivors to whatever it may be saying your book has made me stop feeling sorry for myself. There's a lot of humor in the book. It's autobiographical as well. Other chapters written there by other people as well, just to it's an interesting flow. The chapters are short, they're like 4 or 5 pages, but it's a good read. And when I got Andromeda, I was back to about 75%. I was pretty good by the end of the first season, but Andromeda, to me, the biggest change was cutting off my hair. So 7 years of having, I kind of started liking the rock and roll, So, and if you look at the first season, it's still kind of Jackson Brown 1975 kind of long, But I realized now, I should have cut it shorter, and I did later on in the season went on. I'm a huge fan of Star Trek. I love the original Star Trek series a lot. So when Major Roddenberry called me up during the last season of Hercules and said, "Hey, I got this show my husband wrote back in 1969, and the first captain he ever created after Captain Kirk was Captain Dylan Hunt, and I think he'd love you." And I stopped her and said, "I'm sold, let's start shooting." So for those who were fans, it should have gone 2 more years, but the company that owned us, Tribune Company, went into bankruptcy. So they had to freeze all our assets, because we were the #1 show. We picked up right where Hercules left off. We were the #1 show in first run syndication. And so there should have been 44 more episodes, and none of us were happy about that. And so, but it is what it is. They were in bankruptcy for about 7 years. So the show never got a chance to come back. What side we're on? Over here?
Yep, we're over here.
What would you want to be remembered for most?
I'd like to remember for the family movies that I'm doing. Really, I'd like the people to look back. I mean, I got 3 coming out this year, and 3 documentaries done in the can. I got 3 more movies lined up this year, and a TV series lined up this year. The TV series is a comedy, but it's going to be funny. It's Last Man Standing meets All in the Family. And my characters are cross between Tim Allen and Archie Bunker. So if you like people laughing at people that are overly crazy about political correctness, I'm your guy. So stop looking to be offended by anything and everything. Look in the mirror. There's the problem. Okay. Roll up and take responsibility for yourself.
We're getting close to the end of the panel with Kevin. Just about 6 minutes out. Let's
All
go.
right, sorry. I'll try to be quick answers.
I apologize. I'm not good at speaking in public. I apologize. I have to go back to God's Not Dead because that movie changed my life. I threw down the gauntlet for my own experience because of that movie. And I need to know, as a Christian, how was it to play an atheist? How did that feel?
You know, being an actor and knowing people like that, I just really tapped into that. And the writing was fantastic as well. So that really helped. I gotta tell you, that movie, all these movies, from Soul Surfer to Let There Be Light. If you haven't seen Let There Be Light, that's the last one I directed. It was in theaters last year. I hope you guys see it. If you don't want an autographed copy over there, you can certainly watch it streaming on Amazon. About a year after the movie came out, I was at Salt Lake City Airport, and this woman walks up to me. I was with my family. We were catching a flight, and 32 years old, beautiful woman, 7-year-old daughter with her, and she spoke heavy dialect. And she said, "Are you Kevin Sorbo?" I could tell right away she was somewhere from the Middle East, and I said, "Yes, I am." She goes, "I'm from Iraq, I live in Phoenix." She says, "But I saw your movie, God's Not Dead, and I became a Christian because of your movie." And her and her daughter just got baptized. And it was amazing, and I get stuff like that all the time, which is incredible. I mean, to say that you're able to do that is, to me, that's such an amazing thing, that the power of the medium of television and movies again.
Your moving and your acting saved over 77 people.
Wow. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless
Thank you. Thank you. What's up, Xena?
Just want to know, how did you enjoy working with Lucy?
Lucy did about 4 different characters in the first 2 seasons. There's one scene where I go blind because she gives this kiss and she passes this potion and I go blind in it. And so we talk. I'm always very good with people about making them comfortable about the kissing. I'm not going to be some slobby dude. And she goes, "Kevin, we'll just make it look passionate, but we don't have to do any tongue." I said, "That's fine." First take, she sticks her tongue so far down my throat. And I looked at her, I said, well, I thought you said no tongue. She goes, "I couldn't help myself." She said, "It's not good." So I looked at the director and I said, "We should do that again. I think I did that right." So, you know what? And all the people who worked with that series, I'm not going to bring up the guy's name because you all know who he is as a guest star. There was the only guy that was a pain in the ass to work with. And that's a pretty good track record for 7 years. Everybody was so cool and we had so much fun. I was blessed. I mean, just one guy with the ego a little bit too big, and which was too bad, And he heard a couple stunt guys because he wanted to do his own stunts and stuff like that. And it was like, okay. So I said, but when we do our fight scene, I'm fighting your body double. I'm not fighting you. So, are we here real quick?
From a young actress, what keeps you the most motivated when you felt you were going to be rejected?
Most motivated what?
What kept you motivated when you had to deal with rejection?
That fueled the fire. You tell me I can't do something, I'll show you I can do it. And that's what you have to have, that attitude. Seriously. In anything in life. Because you're always going to have rejection in life. And you can't let that, it's part of life. Everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not, it's just, so you gotta find in yourself the fuel, what fuels your fire, and that fueled my fire. And that was what kept me working on the gym too, so I wouldn't go out there and go crazy on anybody. So I think that's why I love playing sports so much growing up. But you just got to keep plugging along, because that's just part of it. And use it. I think it's good to even get in the room and have the chance to audition, because it's about putting those miles on. It's about putting that time and effort into it. That's what makes a difference. So just keep plugging away, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Kevin, we got time for one more question, so let's go over here.
Sorry, guys.
All right, I just had one question. I wanted to know what's the difference between going from fantasy to sci-fi? Like
8,000 years.
Yeah.
It's not really. I wasn't intimidated by it. I mean, I grew up probably what you did, watching those types of shows. I mean, I liked that world. I read a lot of books in those worlds. I read all about mythology when junior high school. So for me to play that part, and that was just my own reading, because reading's important. Kids got to read. It's a good thing to do, and it's fun to have. That's why so many people say the book was better, right? When you see a movie, you know why the book is still better, even with all the technology we have? Because they can't still do what your mind sees when you read these things. You know, everybody reads a script and reads it a little bit differently. Every director's going to direct it a little bit differently. So it really comes down to doing stuff like that. But I just find a big difference between it. To me, it just came down to writing and just having fun with it.
BransonCon, just to give you an idea of what the rest of the weekend is going to be like here at BransonCon with Kevin Sorbo. Tomorrow night, right here inside the theater, we will have that VIP screening, 10 o'clock. Of course, Kevin's hand-picked episode of Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. That will be going on tomorrow night at 10. And another opportunity, I would encourage you to come back on Sunday, spend time with Kevin, as he will go through his book signing, answering questions. It will be True Faith right here at the theater. And then something very, very special, and Kevin, I want to tell everybody about this because it's going to be huge. A special screening. This film has not been seen anywhere else. It is a special for this area, for all of you fans, especially faith-based films, family films. Miracle in East Texas will be screened at Grace Community Church, and the community fans right here, you need to be there to see it. Kevin, what time will that screening take place?
It's at 6 o'clock. It has been shown, but this is the first time it's being shown outside of the film festival world. This is my last one I directed. It's going to come out in theaters in September. You guys, if you want to come see it, it's Sunday at 6 o'clock. We're going to have popcorn and drinks and things like that. I don't know if we have tickets to buy over there for it. I think we might. We shot, it's a true story set in 1930. It's about the largest oil find in the history of the world. It's a comedy. It's myself with John Ratzenberger. Lou Gossett Jr. is in it. Tyler Mane, for you WWF guys. He was Sabretooth in the X-Men movies. We shot up in a beautiful location up in Calgary. People say, how can you shoot Calgary as Texas? Well, if Clint Eastwood can shoot Unforgiven on that same location, it's good enough for me. So I hope you come see it. Like I said, it's won everything in film festivals, from best romantic comedy to best faith-based film to judges' favorite, audience favorite. And you guys can see it here outside the film festival world and get a sneak peek before it comes out in September.
And BransonCon fans, stay connected to Kevin on Twitter at KSorbs, KSORBS, and also at kevinsorbo.net. And fans, make sure you stay close at hand, because right over here we're going to be having photo ops and VIP signings. BransonCon, if you enjoyed this Q&A with actor Kevin Sorbo, please make some noise, give him a round of applause.